Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you by Patron Tequila. Talking about Stage 6 alongside my co-host, JB Hager, from Brest to Mur de Bretagne, which they actually did 2 times. 181 kilometers, 113 miles. Beautiful sunny day again, hot. We saw an incredible ride by Dan Martin. We'll break down his performance a little bit later. Before we get into that, let's do a little bit of business here. Make sure we take care of all the folks that made all this possible. One of these days, we're going to do a little video tour of just how elaborate the setup has gotten here in the Airstream.
I think people will understand the sponsorship thing when you see what we put into this.
Yes, Lance.org was getting a little tired of I am tired of a lot of things, including Taylor Phinney's homemade videos on NBC.
That.
We're going to get to that.
Oh, boy.
Ooh. But y'all tell me. I want to vote on that. But before we do it, let's talk about our generous supporters. For those of you who follow me on social media the last, year and a half, you would have seen, and I should add, amazing photos taken by Liz Kreutz. You would have seen me back in the gym, back in a gym in Austin, Texas, by the name of Onnit, O-N-N-I-T. Interesting story. Originally started out as a supplement and nutritional company and expanded into gym work. To me, really almost more as like a content play. But what they came across is that the workout system that they had devised, not just Aubrey Marcus and Kyle Kingsbury and John Wolfe and all of the great crew there, was that this is something that was actually changing people's lives, especially professional athletes. I mean, I'm in there. I see all these NFLers in there. MMA guys are in there. It's amazing. So 46 years old. I've never felt this way ever. I have when I was about 16, but I haven't felt this way in 20 years. The great news, if you don't live in Austin, Texas, you can actually do the program at home now. They got a new home fitness program by the name of Onnit 6. So everything we do in the gym there, you can do in your home. Again, designed by Aubrey and John Wolfe, Coach John Wolfe. Head over to onnit.com/themove to download that. You can also sign up, get a free trial of Alpha Brain. I know you boys are trying this out this morning.
Day one for me to try it.
Day one. You seem a little
better?
perkier. Yeah, this is impressive. So head on over to onnit.com/themove and, get busy, get healthier, lose weight, feel better, move better, all those things. As well today, the show brought to you by High Brew Coffee. For those who do, they say. I love that. For those who do, like we do. It's perfect. 6 different flavors, 2 cups of coffee per can, all natural. Can be found Amazon, Whole Foods, all these other great retailers and outlets. But the best thing, and this is amazing, okay, and I did not know this. I get an email last night from our founder there, David Smith, who, by the way, founded Sweet Leaf Tea and Deep Eddy Vodka and now High Brew Coffee. The guy don't lose.
Pretty good track record, right?
He's like a serial entrepreneur. But he says, hey, if you guys end up doing another happy hour, as you mentioned during the Stage 4 podcast, which we are going to do, David. In fact, we're going to do it tomorrow night for our members at 5:30 with Mr. George Hincapie. We have a killer espresso martini recipe made with Patron XO tequila, which is 2 shots of vodka, 1 shot of Patron XO coffee tequila, 2 shots of high brew double espresso, a splash of Frangelica, lots of ice, and shake like crazy. Shake it till you make it. So I'm not afraid. I'll try that out.
We're going to need a bar car next to the studio.
Yeah, High Brew Coffee. Cold brew for those who do. DU with the long bar. All right, let's get into it. What do we got? Man, before we get into it, I've had a busy couple days, and I just want to let the listeners just give them a heads up. It's such an honor that this show is cranking enough that people are just calling. These news outlets are calling, wanting to do interviews. And 2 days ago, actually over here just at the Aspen Public Radio studio, I did both of these pieces there. 2 days ago, I did about a 90-minute interview with the Freakonomics podcast.
Oh, man, I love that show.
I mean, let me tell you something, folks. This is a fucking barn burner. Just get ready. I'm telling you, no holds barred.
That's a great show.
Yeah. And then yesterday, I did about half an hour with NPR's 1A and the host there, Joshua James. So that, I think, is going to air. Freakonomics, I don't know when it's going to air. The 1A show, I believe, goes up today. today or tomorrow. So keep your eyes out for that. And then we got a piece coming up on CNBC. Like we're hitting like Wall Street, baby.
I did a podcast interview about the move with an English magazine called The Monocle. It's just called Monocle. Let you know about that.
Okay. Yeah, bring it.
It was more about the podcast side of it.
Awesome.
Okay, before we get to the slug finish and how things have shaken up a bit, a couple things early in the race that I want to talk to you about. Quick Step on the front, just driving like a freight train.
Well, it's a perfect day for them. I mean, this is a classic style stage, and they have the horsepower to explode the field, which they did. And I didn't really anticipate a windy day, but it clearly was windy because when they went to the front, I mean, there were 4 or 5 different groups.
So I saw some stat. They were like 68% of the time today. They were on the front, 68% of the time. So doing all that work, is that their goal, was to split it up before and not take everybody to the finish?
I saw as I was watching the NBC feed, I believe they said, and I think I get this right, that they felt like, for example, yesterday, that Sagan had too easy of a ride. So they wanted to do whatever they could to animate the race, make the race hard, so that, just take a little bit of sting out of Peter Sagan's legs. And
that might have worked.
Well, it might have worked. But hey, I was surprised. Look, he didn't win, but by the way, he was ahead of all 3 guys that were on the podium last year. He was in that front group.
Yeah.
So I don't know, make party last night maybe.
Interesting thing about Sagan on the we always call it the Aussie feed. I don't know what else to call it, but with Robbie McEwen and I was,
we can always forget the other guy's name.
Matthews.
Matthews. Sorry, bro.
Matthew. Dang it.
That's all right.
I apologize. I'll get that down today.
No, you don't.
I was just getting up, just turned on the TV, so if I have the numbers wrong, forgive me. But what I heard was that although we talk about Sagan having 10 wins in the Tour de France, right? That's phenomenal. 10 stage wins. What you don't think about, and I believe this is what they said, 30 second places. 30.
Yeah. Well, you got to get second a lot if you want to win.
It's just amazing.
Well, do the math. I mean, say half of those he converts. Now, then, if this stat is true, which I guess we think it is, then he's at 25. And we're all talking about Cavendish trying to break Eddie Merckx's record, which isn't going to happen. But Sagan, anyways.
Yeah.
10 is a long ways from whatever Eddie has.
Yeah.
30 something.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
You just don't think about how many times they're that close that you forget about, because people don't remember who was second.
That's right. Hey, right quick on amazing results. I saw a tweet earlier today that Lawson Craddock's effort for the Velodrome in Houston, his where he challenged people to match him, as we did here at the Move, is up to $40,000.
That's amazing.
It's
like
this, and he's amazing. Kid's hanging in there.
That crash is the best and worst thing to happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting a lot of TV time. He's doing a lot of great charitable efforts for his hometown.
Yeah.
People are loving him. He's endeared himself to the public.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we got to the finish, again, we saw something dramatic happen about 5K out.
Yeah.
Dumoulin with a front wheel change.
To me, that's, aside from Dan Martin's impressive ride / drag race up the Mur de Bretagne. By the way, folks, Mur means wall. So the wall of Brittany. It wasn't quite a wall, but it's they feel like it's a wall. But as impressive as that was, the real headline is all about the favorites. I mean, you had 4 of the big favorites lose time. You had, obviously, Tom Dumoulin. We don't know if it was a technical issue with the wheel or a flat. It took forever. He probably should have just done a bike change. I don't know if his team car was too far back, but took forever for him to get that wheel changed and then get going again, get in the cars, and then with an uphill finish, you're never going to make it back.
No.
So
he did pretty good to reconnect, but he lost 52 seconds.
He lost, well, to Dan Martin, but he loses 50 to, the other,
right,
his competitors. But look at the other. Rigoberto Urán loses 8 seconds to his competitor, the other favorites. Bardet loses 28 seconds to the favorites. Chris Froome loses 5, and TJ Van Garderen loses 3. But let's just talk for a second about Roman Bardet. That, I get it. It's a punchy, steep, classic style climb, but that's a bad sign.
At one moment, he almost looked like he was at a complete stop, was he not?
Well, he had a mechanical leading into the Muir, or something. The TV didn't catch it, but he had to bridge back up. Maybe that took a little out of him, but boy, to lose 28 seconds on a 2K climb to your rivals. I'm not pulling the fire alarm if I'm him, but my hand is moving towards it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, now that was a long, flat stage, but just that kind of finish just shook things up.
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, with both of these guys, and now that I think about this, and if you go look at the results, with Roman Bardet 28 seconds off the back of the favorites, then you have, lo and behold, look who gets second. Pierre Latour, his teammate. Chris Froome, 5 seconds off the back. Look who's up there and sprinting for time bonuses before that, Geraint Thomas. So who's in charge?
Break that down for everybody.
Well,
Thomas and Froome are teammates. Froome's the favorite.
Yeah,
but
we talked so much about Movistar with 3 leaders,
mm-hmm.
but we didn't even talk about the fact that Team Sky has actually designated Chris Froome and Geraint Thomas as co-leaders. If I've won 4 tours and I'm trying to win a 5th, wait, I have one. But anyways, doesn't matter. Well, who knows? But if I'm going for my 5th and my team says, we're going to have co-leaders, I'm like,
that's disheartening.
The fuck you are?
Yeah.
No way you are.
Yeah.
Roman Bardet, I don't think that they've designated Pierre Latour as a co-leader. By the way, what a perfect name for a French guy.
I know.
Pierre Latour. That's straight out of Tour de Pharmacy. And so that's clearly in Pierre Latour and Geraint Thomas, you have 2 guys that are riding for themselves. And fair play to Geraint Thomas. They've said, you are a co-leader, so I guess he can.
How far in do they make a decision? Like, will they at a certain point with co-leaders say, you know what, Chris Froome, you're working for Geraint Thomas? Will that ever happen?
Oh, God. If he loses a lot of time, and Geraint, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
at a certain point, you got to be the team player, right?
For sure.
Okay. And they'll probably decide that when they get into the mountains.
They will, but let's not. I mean, we can speculate all we want. Chris Froome has shown time and time again that he can have bad days, and then he can have these days that are so exceptional. I will say, if that were to happen, if he, say, one day lost a huge chunk of time, then he puts himself in this position where and he wants to endear himself to the public. But let's just speculate and say he lost a lot of time. Then he gets to go into this role of super domestique and ride for somebody else. Boy, I mean, that would change everything in terms of the perception and the view of him and him as a rider, him as a teammate, him as a man. But I'm not getting there yet, but it would be interesting.
All right, I want you to touch on something really quick because I'm thinking about people who are trying to take an interest in the Tour de France in America,
mm-hmm.
and they open the paper, look online, whatever they're doing, and they see, as of yesterday, an American in second, today still in third, 5 seconds back. They see TJ Van Garderen. They're probably going, hey, we're doing great. This is great news, but they don't understand how the team time trial has put people in different places.
Sure.
So I think it's worth touching on the passive fan who's seeing an American up there and doesn't really understand the dynamics.
Look, I mean, here's you have to. They would see that in the newspaper, right? I just went to ESPN.com. Like, if you're a sports fan, an American sports fan, you would think if an American is sitting second or third in the Tour de France, it'd be on the right here, top headlines. You got a LeBron mural that got painted over. You got Papa John out as the chairman of Papa John's. Not surprising. Tim Tebow. Anyways, there's nowhere in here does it say American TJ Van Garderen sitting in third in the Tour de France, although it should.
Mm-hmm.
So folks would have to find that, on just in the newspaper. Like, I mean, I remember growing up, that's how we would follow the results of the tour, and they'd have top 10 on the stage and top 10 overall, and then they would list the Americans. And so, it's just not getting the exposure that you would think that it should and does deserve. But Serena Williams into the Wimbledon final. I mean, this chick, she's amazing. I mean, just crushing people.
This just in.
Yeah. Sorry. George, speaking of other sports, George Hincapie texted me this morning. He's like, hey, bro, where are we going to watch the World Cup final? I was like, what? Not what? We're going to do the podcast, and we're going to go for a bike ride. We'll read about it later and hope they go to penalty kicks. Not watching the final.
Some other stuff we wanted to mention today, and it caught your eye. Yeah. This new zipperless jersey.
I was, well, while we're at it, let's talk about Dan Martin, because he's.
Oh yeah, we didn't spend enough time on that.
So Dan Martin is he is and has to be our patron of the day. Mm-hmm. Brought to you by Patron Tequila, who's presenting sponsor of this podcast, The Move. When he went, I mean, the interesting climb, the Mur de Bretagne, and I've never finished up it, but and if you look to Wikipedia, I've never even finished the Tour de France, but. It's a straight climb. Most climbs have some curves, some bends, some turns, switchbacks, so you can get away and people can't see you, out of sight, out of mind. Mm-hmm. This thing, you can see everything in front of you. And so when he went with nearly a kilometer to go, I'm like,
you were like early,
way too early. Way too early. So for him to have the guts to do that and to hold it off, I mean, it's super, super impressive, very difficult. And again, he's riding away, and 4 of the favorites are off the back. So, but what we noticed from the Patron is, and I didn't notice it in the race, but when he was doing his post-race interview, I was like, oh my God, he changed his jersey pretty quick, almost like into a T-shirt, because there was no zipper. Mm-hmm. And I kept looking, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's what, and he had his radio hanging out of it, and it was like you could tell it was a race jersey material. His jersey doesn't have a zipper. I've never seen that. It looked like a T-shirt.
Yeah, I was reading about it earlier this morning. It was designed for them. It's supposed to be really good at regulating temp and more aero and lighter.
Let me tell you something. I'd drive me crazy. I got to have a zipper. I don't want anything on my neck up top. No. But hey, obviously that's not what made the difference. And for those of you who don't know, Dan Martin basically comes from Irish cycling royalty. He's the nephew of Stephen Roche, Tour de France winner, Tour of Italy winner, world champion, and so therefore the cousin of Nicholas Roche from Team BMC. Irish cycling royalty. There you have it.
Very cool. Now, you wanted to talk about another American.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I want to I got up as early as I could. I got run over by the 48 car last night. It was bad. 48 just, what'd he do to me?
He looked fine on his mountain bike earlier.
He didn't look fine. He was terrible. He looked terrible. But I got up early and flipped on the TV, and the first thing I see, and I don't want to say much, although I said a little bit at the top of the show, but I don't want to, because I love Taylor Phinney, but I don't understand these homemade videos. I really don't. I mean, we can play it, but
it's a generational thing.
But more than anything, I'd love to know what the listeners and viewers think. I mean, maybe we could put up a poll, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm old. That could be it. I just could be really old.
You're a curmudgeon, like
I'm not. I just said I love Taylor Phinney. I didn't say, that he's an asshole and that he should be kicked out of it. No. But I'm just saying,
You just don't get it.
I think I'm just an old man. Or maybe, but I want to hear from the listeners. But let's play it.
Here, yeah, it's him in his hotel room for those listening without the visual here. And I'll play the audio for it is what's really, really important here.
Yeah, and you can probably find it online.
Phinney Diaries.
Hola. Hello from another hotel room. It's Wednesday. Got the World Cup on the tally. It's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays we wear pink. Team EF. Education first, dry pack, powered by Cannondale. Brutal stage today. I'm tired. My face is red. Bah. 5 days in. Don't even want to know how many to go. All for glory, baby. We're doing it for glory. We're doing it for America. We're doing it for education. We're wearing pink because it's Wednesday, baby.
I don't know. I mean, it's like we're at fucking Coachella or Burning Man. I mean, what? This is the Tour de France. T-Pain, come on, man. Let's talk about something else.
Tomorrow's stage.
Okay.
Tomorrow's stage.
Tomorrow's stage is the longest stage of the Tour de France. 231 kilometers. Wait, where are we? Yeah. I had it written down somewhere. Yeah. 143 miles. Think about that. I mean, if you folks can't, I mean, sometimes 231 sounds and seems shorter to me, but when you say 143, it's like, wow, that is a long ways. I mean, most people think a century is sort of the iconic thing. This is almost one and a half of those. Uneventful day aside from the standard, typical, throw it in hard right with 2K to go. So, you know, look, we're going to see the same thing. We're going to see, and I should have checked this morning when that group of you know, the typical French teams, Direct Energy, Cofidis, blah, 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 goes away. But they're going to do the same thing tomorrow. And probably, if I'm Quick Step, I have, you know, you have to accept the responsibility of the race. Gaviria, as we know how to pronounce, Fernando Gaviria.
Very good. You got it down now.
Thank you so much. I've said it like 100 times since yesterday. I sit in my room and I'm just like, Gaviria. He's clearly shown that he's the quickest, and so the responsibility is theirs. They might get a little help from some guys, but I don't see anybody coming around him.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's it. Gaviria's the man tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not.
It's really flat.
Yeah,
we don't have even those punches like we saw today.
I mean, there is a categorized climb, a Cat 4 in there somewhere, but it's basically flat, especially the last 50 kilometers. But I'm looking at this. We can show the peeps at home, but this last right-hander, kind
it's
of
like a right and a right.
Double right-hander with 2K to go. Could be, you know, we're looking at this rendering in the race book. We'll probably go on Google Earth and get a better shot.
And how far from the finish is that? 2 hard rights?
Exactly 2K to go.
2K. Look for that tomorrow.
Yeah. And well, I guess the only other X factor would be the wind, which we saw today. You never know.
Okay.
I mean, you get these days that are flat and long and exposed. Guys get tired and just kind of distracted.
Yeah, if you didn't see it today at about 100K out, what Quick Step was doing to the whole peloton on just a flat run, it was impressive.
Yes.
Cool. I'm going to tee up some questions and comments if you want to tell everybody about our friends at PowerDot.
Yeah, let's talk about PowerDot. And what the cool thing about this device, as I say every day, I loved this device so much that I actually invested in the company. It is a mobile electric stem, otherwise known as e-stem unit, that you can take with you anywhere you go. I just stick this thing in my backpack everywhere I go. As I told people early on, you know, as an old man, you get injured, but I was reminded that even young people get injured. Tendonitis, other things that you need e-stem for. Totally different than the old system where you would go into the trainer's office and have big box and cables everywhere and you couldn't take it home. This one is so compact. It's crazy. Bluetooth enabled, app on your phone. And the last thing about PowerDot, which I just love, and I'm going to give say a big thank you to Lawson Craddock for tuning into the show every day, is they got a call yesterday from his trainer that asked if he could get a PowerDot e-stem unit to try to, you know, help that bum shoulder of his. So hopefully that helps him. But for all our listeners, they're offering 25% off the unit, and then they're giving away 1 unit per day. So for that, you just go to powerdot.com/themove.
There you go. Guys, doing a fantastic job. I told my wife this evening, I don't know why Lance is so riveting to listen to. Maybe because he's such a polarizing figure, but who knows? Either way,
Thank
you
you.
two are doing an awesome job. My question, barring the hydration bonk of 2003 that you alluded to earlier this week, what stage that you rode was the scariest, most evil, punishing stage that you ever competed on the tour? That's from Chris Looney in Virginia.
Well, there was another, the second hardest day I ever had was, gosh, it must have been in 2001 on La Mangie, final climb. I had 7 minutes on Jan Ulrich. There was no reason to try to animate the race on the last climb. I sent Kevin Livings to the front and I said, let's go. Let's just rip these people's legs off. And we did. And next thing you know, one warning light came on, second warning light came on, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shit. I got all the warning lights on, and Jan came back. Everybody came back. Next thing you know, they're riding away. Johan's in the team car behind me with the Prime Minister of Belgium. I can't. It's within, every day you're not allowed to take a feed from the car. I don't know what the exact distance is, 20 or 30K before the finish. And
You
so
needed something.
I couldn't go back. So so I was, and you don't.
You can take something from a teammate.
You can,
but not
and
from
you
the
can
car
take,
at that point.
And you can take something from the side of a spectator.
Wow.
But that's obviously ill-advised. Hey, have a sip of this, buddy. Or take a bite out of this. See you in the doping control after. So I didn't want to do that, and I ended up not having any teammates. And gosh, I'm spacing on his first name, but his last name was Conti, Conti. An old Italian pro, and he was with me, and he knew that I was in trouble. And he's a completely different team. Never really had any relationship with him. He stayed with me, pulled me to the finish line, was giving me his gels, giving me his bottle.
Wow.
I mean, it was like Christmas. Yeah.
Wow. I never thought about that. Just another teammate, another guy on another team just helping you out.
Yeah.
Because it comes back
But
around,
yeah, of
right?
course. Although I never had a chance to thank him for
Well,
that.
maybe
Oh, well.
Let's send him and find him on.
Well, we're talking about him right now.
There you go. Hopefully you'll hear this. Tell him thank
Yeah.
you.
Grazie. Grazie mille. Now, how do I not? He was a great rider. How can I not remember his first name?
From Michael in Fort Worth. I'm a fellow Texan and a huge fan of the podcast. I've been watching since day one. I'm curious if Lance has considered participating in the Tour de France fantasy cycling. You're doing pretty good on your predictions. It'd be interesting to see how well you did compared to everybody else.
I saw one of the apps that we downloaded. I think this Tour Tracker app has a fantasy option. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's a thing. I've never done. I don't even know what fantasy football is. The fact that every major sports paper in America now dedicates an entire page to fantasy football.
Right, it's big. It's huge.
Clearly, it's big. That's weird.
So you don't.
Well,
or don't intend.
I mean,
to.
I don't know.
I didn't even know it was a thing until this year.
I didn't either. We'll check it out.
This is from, I think, off Twitter. Big Creek. Don't know your real name. Big Creek at Big Cyclist. Anyway, this is great. At my dentist appointment today, the hygienist keeps telling me stress is making my teeth sensitive to hot and cold. She asked, "Are you under stress or pressure right now?"
Mm-hmm.
In my best Peter Sagan, I respond, "What is pressure?"
What is pressure? I don't know the question.
Boom. No more dumb questions.
Might be grinding your teeth.
Yeah,
it's amazing how
exactly.
many people grind. Like I was like, Anna's always like, "You grind your teeth at night." And I was like, "No, I don't. What are you talking about? I don't grind my teeth." Then I would go to the dentist, and the dentist is like, "Have you been grinding your teeth?" Like obviously the dentist can see and knows that.
Just a couple more.
What is pressure?
Just checking in. Yanis checks in. I enjoy every podcast. Greetings from Greece. And this is great. So,
There's
have
our neighbor with the remodel next door.
Have you worn the FNS? No, you wore it at the happy hour, right? For the members?
Maybe, but I wore it in Israel.
Okay, so maybe you've
Speaking of France, the Tour de France, there's a Frenchman that just rolled up, Alain Azizi.
If you haven't seen it, we have a new hat called, it just says FNS on
That's
it.
right.
Forward, never straight.
Forward, never straight.
And we got this message from Jeff and says, FNS, the term dates back at least to 1970 And we used to say it just before lighting a bowl or a J while cruising around in southeast Wisconsin. Love the channel and the commentary. Again, that's Jeff Howard. But that's a phrase they used to use when they'd light up back in Wisconsin in 1970.
Well, you know what? We learn something every day. You know what that's amazing. We are in Colorado, so I guess you can do that.
Right?
Yeah. JB, I'm just for the heck of it, I'm just looking at this I'm curious about this last. I'm pulling up Google Earth here, so I'm curious about this last corner with 2K to go.
Okay.
It's wide, it's big. I mean, I wish we could show the readers or the listeners and the viewers. I don't think it's that tricky.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
tomorrow,
I think they'll make it around that. I think.
Barring getting
very wide.
Barring getting split up out and maybe some crosswinds or something, not going to be super eventful, which is not the best way to entice you to tune in tomorrow. Oh, I see.
So
it's much more rounded.
Yeah, they come from here, and it's not really a roundabout. It's a, I don't know. That's probably like a convention center or something.
Okay.
One more question, and then we're gonna go biking.
One more.
I see 48 out here. I got my French buddy Alain.
Okay.
Jimmy's pilot, Kelly, who's balling on a budget always.
Let's see. Oh, here's something. They'll bring up a writer we haven't talked about.
Good.
This is from Arnaud. Hi, this
Barnaud,
sorry.
How do you spell it? A-R-N...
Arnaud. So Arnaud.
A-R-N-A-U-D?
O-U-D. Arnaud.
Oh, Arnaud. Anyways. Okay.
Belgian.
We're messing up another name.
I know.
What's new?
Sorry. Hi,
Arnaud.
this Belgian cycling addict tunes in again. You guys nail it most of the time. We just proved.
You're right. I was a little rough getting started here. Rusty.
But you haven't even mentioned the Tour de France 2018 dark horse, Roglic.
I know. I think either I saw that email or he might have tweeted at us. He was in that front group today. We talked about him last year. This is the guy who was check this out. I mean, most people, they were runners, and now they're cyclists, or they were a triathlete, yours truly, and then they were cyclists. Homeboy, this Roglic guy was one of these ski jumpers, like in the Olympics, where they go down the thing, they go like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then just boom, just launching. Not X Games. I mean, I'm talking like Olympic stuff. That was what he did before. Like, how do you go from that to being a favorite in the Tour? I don't know, but pretty cool.
So he's an exciting guy.
Yeah.
And then he did get some TV time, because I had clipped this comment, and then sure enough, they were talking about him a lot today.
All right.
There you go.
Let me just also touch on last thing. I'm folding up all my stuff. I see all the boys congregating out here. They don't want to wait on me.
Mountain biking today?
Mountain bike every day. No more road riding. Too many. I don't trust these drivers. I don't trust them. For our members, tomorrow night, 5:30 Mountain Time, so that's 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. And for our members that are asleep when we're doing this show right now, doing a happy hour here in the Airstream on the couch. Myself and George Hincapie will be here. No telling who else will show up. We're going to have some margaritas, and it sounds like we're going to have a high brew coffee martini. But, again, for members only. If you're not a member, you can go to wedo.team, sign up for the season pass, and join us. Ask away. Ask any question you want. Once you log in, and then as we're sitting here, we'll send you the member-only email to fire off some questions. And by the way, just ask George questions. I'll just sit here.
You can sign up for the membership at wedo.team, and right away you get half your money back with this T-shirt that I'm wearing.
Yep.
This is only for members.
Yep.
You'll get that sent to you. We're doing a reorder because we sold out of hundreds and hundreds of them really, really quick. And send questions and comments. We'd love to get to them on the show. The move at wedo.team.
Perfect. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.